Hey everybody, it's from the logo. Thanks for joining us. We're here to talk about some basketball. That's what we do on this podcast. So tonight, the Blazers happen to be taking it to the Grizzlies, which is not necessarily something I would have expected based on our conversation last week. But here we are. What do you think, Colton? How's this game fit in with our narrative about the Blazers season?
I saw it coming a mile away. No, I'm just kidding. I love it. Uh, we're we're kind of in that point where the upward trajectory of now is not going to lead to success right now, right? The play-in, Anthony Davis is maybe making a return. We'll see if he can stay on the floor, right? Or if Dallas is just cursed into infinity for what they did. But this positive momentum, depending on what Joe cooks up in the offseason, Mr. Cook there, could really positively translate moving forward. They could be like we've been talking about for the last season, the Rockets of the next season, right? Right now, Denny, 7 of 10 from the field, 5 of 6 from three, 7 of 7 from the line, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, 26 points. I mean, is the guy going to be like an all-star next season on like a what, $12 million contract? I don't think it's that unlikely. He's like what, 23, 24 years old? Uh let's just keep all this in mind, right? He's just been great. You go down the line of the stats. I mean, you don't even the stats don't tell the whole story either with these guys if you watch them out there. Obviously, Tumani's been a menace. Donovan, right? He's a good out there imposing on the court. Anthony, Shaden, Scoot brings the energy. Even when he's up and down with his shooting, that's okay. I still think he's looked way better in his minutes out there with his decision making. He's got 5 assists tonight. Um, but I wanted to bring up because he's been the man of mystery. I was kind of memeing on him. The return of Matisse Thybulle. So really quick, and I'll throw it to Kirby because you know I don't want to take up all the time here. But the guy
It's a
doesn't
three-man
play.
show. It's one, 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 not one, whatever. One, two, three, not one, two, back to one.
The guy doesn't play all season, Kirby. But he comes in his first game back all season with a mysterious ankle injury, and gets the game clinching block steal combo, wins the game with the defensive play of the game. I mean, what can you say? That's what he does, right? Does he have value going into this season? What do you do with Matisse Thybulle? He's your dad's guy.
Yeah, first of all, that was a blown coverage at the end of the game that he just like evaporated. That blown coverage is impressive to watch. And then he comes out the next game against Washington, to be fair, but has 5 steals and a block. And he's like plus 20 or something like that. I can't remember the exact plus minus, but him and Scoot coming off the bench were like huge plus minuses. So he fits right into the Chauncey system that I've been advocating for the last couple years, that lockdown defensive system. Um, him and Scoot coming off the bench is a nice athletic duo. Yeah, let's see. I'm looking at the plus minuses right now. He was plus 14 and Scoot was plus 17. Again, against the Wizards, but that's nice to have those two athletic guys coming off the bench. One's a playmaker, one's a defensive stopper. Um, I don't really know about if I prefer trading him or keeping him. I guess it all depends on the package. That's kind of my standard answer for those kinds of questions, what you can get back for him. I do have some questions though. I haven't looked at the injury report recently. DeAndre Ayton back to the same old ghost vanishing dude. As soon as he started to get his act together, he's been out for what, like a month now? Like we didn't see this coming from a million miles away. Dude just cannot maintain any kind of consistency. And Jeremy Grant has also been out. So is that a calculated move to try to get the veterans off the floor and get the young guys on the court? Or is it just reducing their trade value, their potential trade value? Riley, what do you think about those two guys just being out of the rotation towards the end of the season now as the Blazers try to make this play and push?
Yeah, I mean, whatever's happening, I'm not necessarily mad about it. This game that we're seeing happen right now is kind of exactly what we've been hoping for all season, and really last season too, which is, let's give these guys some time to run. Like, I mean, Klingen's played 18 minutes, Simons and Sharp have played 22 each, halfway through the third. They're getting to actually play basketball together with Advia, Klingon, and some of the other guards. So yeah, I mean Grant and Aiton both, I think we have to imagine are not part of the long-term picture. We definitely saw some flashes where it was like, I mean, maybe we don't have to rush to get rid of Aiton necessarily, but I think Klingon's the center of the future. And so yeah, I have my concerns about this offseason. I'm concerned, Colton started the podcast with what's Joe gonna do this offseason in order to get the team in a better position next year. And just being a Blazer fan for, almost 36 years next week, um, I'm used to seeing the Blazers underperform in the offseason, underperform going up to the trade deadline, and just not really do much of anything. And so my expectations are pretty low for what we're actually going to get in the offseason for these guys. I wouldn't be that surprised if we're running it back next year. But I hope we can at least move one of these guys. But in the meantime, we'll just watch the young core of the future, whenever the future might be, pound the Grizzlies into submission.
Well, I push back a little because think about it. Joe, whether we think of it this way at the time or not, and whether, yeah, he didn't do anything at the trade deadline, this trade deadline, but he has made some kind of big moves since he's been here. He's traded Damian Lillard, hard as that was to do, and as unpopular as it was.
Just forced into that one
Dame
though.
was kind of forcing the hand there as well. Uh, he did trade for Dame's buddy at the time, right? Jeremy. And that was looking like that was going to be an interesting move. Obviously, the contract was signed as well, so that was maybe also viewed as a negative. But Denny, it could be a massive move, right? That's a franchise cornerstone potentially. That could be a franchise changing move. That was one of the assets that you gathered from the Damian Lillard trade.
Maybe the best one.
Okay. I mean, and that pick was not even the best pick out of the swaps from that year. You still have the best pick swap from that year that you kept, that you didn't trade away from that year, which I can't remember if it's 2028. You keep the better pick swap that year. And then you gave up last year's 14th overall pick, which was what, Bub Carrington, I believe. And then Malcolm Brogdon, right? So Denny, so far, yeah, Malcolm, bye, right? Sorry. Uh, Tamani Kamara, another potential key piece for the Blazers core, was acquired by giving up Yusuf Nurkic. I'm sorry. Those are seemingly big moves that while they didn't seem huge at like massive earth-shattering at the time, yeah, I mean they're not trading for LeBron James in his prime, but
Yeah, I mean, that's a fair pushback in that, like, sure, we had to blow up the team. Like, we were forced into blowing up the team for sure. And those are big moves. But I just mean in terms of, like, when we're actually trying to build a team, I've seen many trade deadlines come and go and many
yeah.
off seasons come and go where
Mhm.
you're expecting, hopefully an acquisition that just never really occurs or a
Mhm.
trade that never really occurs. Yeah, I mean, obviously, this is a completely different team than we had 3 years ago, and Joe was part of that. And he, had to do the best with what he could, what he had, and I think he made some actually pretty good moves. So I'm not saying I don't have any faith in him, but in
Yeah.
terms of that, like, now we know what team we are and we're building, and we're looking to go get a piece. It's been a while since I've seen us do that.
I don't think it's I don't think it's ever happened. I don't think it's ever gonna happen. I think the Blazers have to build through the draft and young players. Like
We went and got Scottie Pippen.
Oh,
That was a move back
that's
in
the
the
last
day.
time.
That
well,
was the
no. What
last
about
time.
Gerald Wallace?
That was a move.
Gerald Gerald Wallace. Oh my
You don't think
goodness.
that was a good move? That was a big
Trash.
move at the
I
time.
mean, were they did they win championships? Did they make
No,
finals
but that was a
appearances with
big
Gerald Wallace?
all-star caliber player that
Oh,
they made a move
Gerald
for.
Wallace, that's who you're bringing up
Come
is the
on,
big
man.
swing for the
I need you to
fences
go
move.
back. Get back
Oh my God.
in your
He was
time.
good for like a year and then he completely crashed out of existence. That's a
Yeah.
crazy pull.
That was a piece. That was a
Oh my God.
It wasn't Scotty. I mean, when we went and got Scotty, that turned us into a championship contender, and we went to a Western Conference Finals.
I would
That was a move.
say
That was a move.
that was a big trade
Gerald
deadline
Wallace.
swing that the Blazers needed, and they made a bigger move than
You
like
guys are just proving my point here. Gerald Wallace is the flag bearer for big moves. They Blazers got to pull an OKC here and just try to get hit in the draft, hit with young players, continue to do that.
I
That's the
agree with
only
that.
way that it's. They're not going to be luring any free agents here. They never have. I don't think they ever will. They're not going to be making any, steal trades where they go out and get a superstar. It's going to be through young players and picks and
So
like
that means
that's why they're in, that's
just
why they're
trading
in
these guys for picks, right? I mean, that's then what we got to look at.
or young players. And I mean, yeah, it's just been the way it's always been with the Blazers. That's why they're in perpetual rebuild mode for the most part. And then, occasionally they hit on a Damian Lillard or whatever, but then they're not able to do anything with that. So I think you just got to get it as young as possible and as many assets as possible and try to grow from there. It's like, I don't think you mortgage any of the future for like a win now player at this stage.
Here's a question for you because we're talking about like, oh no, we're in Portland and it rains here, and so it's hard to get people to come to want to come here and stay. And it's a small market, and so
Big taxes.
we have to build through the draft like like they did in OKC. What do you think's going to happen in OKC? I mean, do you think that those guys, as they get older and become superstar players, they're going to stay, or do you think that it's going to be Durant, Harden, Westbrook all over again, where they're gonna lose it and also be in a perpetual state of rebuilding if they don't win a championship like this year? Are they in that
Thing
same
about
spot?
OKC though is they have like 8 guys who could potentially be superstars at this point. They are ridiculously deep. It's crazy. They're sitting like their entire starting lineup and still blowing teams out by 30 points. They just have so much depth, so much talent. You got to figure they realize if they have any intelligence whatsoever, they realize the situation that they're in, that they could be a dominant team for like a decade or longer with the amount of talent. Obviously, the brass is gonna have to make some decisions when it comes to those guys re-signing big contracts and whatnot, but they'll probably be able to pick and choose what guys they want to keep for the most part, or if a guy does want to leave, pull a KD or whatever, then they've got like several different options to back up. But I mean, how well did that work for Harden, Westbrook, and Durant?
They
Leaving
got money.
OKC. I feel like that was a cautionary tale for the most part. I mean, Durant, I guess, has a couple Steph Curry rings, but the rest of them didn't really. I don't know. That team could have won.
I mean, I guess it all depends on what your priorities are, right? Like, yeah, I mean, I agree. That's what I hope to see from young players is that they want to like stick together with a team that has a ton of potential and become a dynasty. But what we see is, guys want to move to LA and get paid. I hope that
They've
doesn't
also been
happen with them.
but they've also been the one seed already twice. So they are winning, and what they're like gonna pay SGA already. He like negotiated his own extension, right? Uh, didn't have like an agent. Um,
Oh
so
yeah,
I
I saw
mean,
that he fired his agent, and then somebody else fired that same agent too. I can't remember who it was, but another NBA player fired him as well, and like doesn't have an agent. That was a bizarre story.
yeah, but so he's gonna get his money, okay, and Do you demand to trade off the 1 seed for 3 years in a row with all your young teammates and you're getting paid? I mean, yeah, it's OKC, but at what point? It's not like they're losing games. Here's the other thing. OKC, alongside all this that everybody always mentions, they have like the most first round picks. So if they need to pack it, like if one of them gets mad about something, well, they got the best package to go get an older, slightly older guy to come in and be like the gunner to help them win. So yeah, they're positioned for success. And that's why you trade those guys that are in their prime that are grumpy to restart that rebuild. As much as that hurts, you rip the Band-Aid off.
What if they
But
brought
I
back
was
Durant?
preaching.
OKC. What if
Huh?
they what if they brought back Durant? OKC. That would be an interesting full
So
circle moment.
I want to ask you guys this question. If Durant went back to OKC, would he salvage his legacy winning a ring in some way, shape, or form? Winning a ring with OKC.
It would do a lot, I feel like. I don't know if it
Wait,
would
let me ask you
salvage his
this. This is the
legacy.
perfect Durant question. Which of these three options would salvage Durant's legacy the best? Okay. Winning a ring with OKC. Seattle gets an expansion franchise. He goes there and wins. Or the dark horse. He goes to the Blazers because they passed on him in the draft and he wins a ring with the Blazers. Which of those three is the best media story and he salvages his legacy?
OKC for sure. I mean, going back to that place where he spent so much of his career, the place that he left, the place that he abandoned and went to the competition, it's got to be that. That's the story.
That's the story. Yeah, yeah. It's the story that I hope deep in my heart somewhere that Dame gets to live out someday too, which is to come back and win a ring on a
That
team
would
that
be
was able to
crazy.
build in their absence a little bit, you know. Because unfortunately, it's just kind of a fact of being a superstar player is that you kind of hamstring your team from being able to build sometimes. That's what happened in Portland. We just didn't have the money and the assets to go out and get anything to put around Dame, especially because of some of the issues Kirby brought up in terms of just the market. Uh, and that's kind of the same thing that happened there to some extent, along with some other shenanigans with other
You
star
gotta look at
players.
you gotta look at O'Shea too, man. He missed on every draft pick. I don't think he hit once. Like CJ was probably his biggest hit. I still don't know if you could call that one like a great hit because he just didn't pair with Dame very well. But I mean, Zach Collins over Donovan Mitchell and Bam Adebayo, taking Myers Leonard, paying Myers Leonard and Evan Turner like 75 million a pop that 1 year. It's like he just missed every single time when it came to Dame. That's every time people talk about like, oh, why did the Blazers trade Dame or why did Dame? It's like it always just comes back to Aldridge leaving and then O'Shea missing every single time after that. There was like never anything that Dame or the
Yeah.
rest of the team could do.
Well, he
It was a
kept kicking
terrible
the
season.
can down the road too. You would trade like a first round pick for like uh, you know, I can't even the role players every time, or he would blow the cap space
Robert
on Evan
Covington,
Turner and Myers Leonard and Mo Harkless.
Ed
And
Davis or something.
two firsts for Robert Covington. And the first round pick that's still holding us up in Larry Nance Jr. And like that kind of stuff. That's the kind of stuff that holds up a franchise and holds it hostage. And so he'd kick the can down the road. And then when you get like offered like a deal to trade for like Paul George, for example, and then they're like, okay, trade us CJ and a couple firsts. And he says, no, I drafted CJ. I like him. Uh, who cares? You could have paired prime Paul George with Dame, and then you wouldn't do
yeah,
it, right? So yeah,
he was
I
bad all the way down. He just bad drafter, bad with free agents, bad with trades, yelled at his staff. Like
Bad with signing contracts with his existing players.
yeah,
the
turned
Myers
out to be a
Leonard
total dick.
extension. You could on the day one of the Myers Leonard extension, you saw that, and he signed for like 12 mil a year. You
Evan
kidding?
Turner too. Evan Turner signed for like 70 or 75 million. He was terrible. It's hard to overestimate how bad Evan Turner was in
Ah,
Portland.
He still
eh,
talks on his podcast about how he fleeced us. Have you guys ever seen
he
any of
did
those
fleece us.
clips?
He did
He
fleece
was
us.
really bad. He couldn't hit a shot. Like the dude was a terrible shooter,
He
and he
was a
just
terrible shooter,
did
but he
not
was.
pair well. He's a guy, he's a ball handler, dude, and Dame had the ball in his hands. So you have him and Al Farouk Aminu and Myers Leonard sitting in the corners, like, oh my goodness,
He
who are you
was
supposed to go to if you're Dame?
he was good for the 6 months leading up to his extension and the 6 months after his extension. Beyond that, it did not work. He really fell off pretty quickly after he signed that extension. He did have a few good games. I mean, we had some excellent games. But yeah, in general, he was not worth the price we paid. The contract we gave him hamstrung us trying to pair Dame with somebody for years. And I've seen clips of him on his podcast talking about how he literally was able to buy stuff that he never thought he'd be able to afford because he tricked the Blazers into paying him. So he knows as well as we do.
While we're
We got a
reminiscing,
we got a score alert here. It's now 91-85. The Grizzlies didn't take kind to your words, Riley, about getting pounded by the Blazers. So they're gonna come back and clearly win this game. Thanks for that.
It's fine.
while
It's fine. We need to lose anyway. We're trying to get a better spot. I'll take credit for that one.
Who gets our
while
pick if we make the who gets the Blazers pick if they make the playoffs?
Chicago,
Yeah. We're trying to avoid shipping that pick to Chicago.
while we're reminiscing about bad Daniil O'Shea moves, I will give a shout out to one Rodney Hood. Because boy, was that guy fun to watch for that playoff run
For
and a
that
little.
one game.
Well, no, I mean he had some fun moments after and before and after that, and then
You know that's what you're thinking of though, that one game.
the one game, but also after that, then the season after that, he was shooting 50% from three,
And then
and
he
then
tore his ACL.
his Achilles. He actually said the game after that, "Hey, coach, my Achilles is sore." And then they're like, "Don't worry about it, go play." And then the next game, he popped his Achilles. So
Was that Stotts?
I'll never forget that he said his Achilles was sore, and then the next game he tore it. So yeah, yeah, rough stuff. I miss Rodney.
Being a
We
Blazer
just
fan
went
is
down the
pain, man. It's pain.
we just went down the hell road of memories there. That entire Damian Lillard run was pretty rough, honestly. It was just like one bad move after another.
It was fun. It was fun to watch the crazy takeover times. But
Well, we got on this whole rant talking about what's Durant's best move moving forward, which yeah, I think we can all agree it's got to be going to OKC, right, Colton? You
I
don't
mean,
need to
yeah, okay,
convince me.
so the Seattle one, the Blazers one was a meme, right? The Seattle move, like, it would be kind of cool to see. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. Because Seattle getting a team in itself is gonna be amazing, like awesome. Just
Supersonics coming back, that's
like
cool.
this, the Pacific Northwest will be buzzing when that happens. The Blazers versus Sonic games are going to be crazy. Uh, and Durant even has been on record saying he's interested in like going and playing for the Sonics if they come back. I mean, it wasn't his fault that the Sonics left, right? So that would be a good story too, a really good story. Obviously, yes, the OKC one would be a major story too, but I don't think we would sleep on the Supersonics story either. I think
Do
that
we
would be
think it would be a good move for OKC to go get Durant at this stage? I don't
that's
know.
what I'm saying. I don't know.
That seems like a big gamble. I guess you see what they do in the playoffs this year, and if it really looks like they need a veteran guy to like go get a bucket every once in a while, but I mean, you're taking the ball out of SGA and Jalen Williams' hands. That's the thing. I think it would be a good move for Durant. I don't really see why OKC would do it, other than for like memories.
just to
nostalgia.
sell a lot of jerseys. Yeah, I don't think it would be a good move in terms of trying to win. I mean, unless they show some serious deficiencies in the playoffs this year, because like you said, I mean, Durant has the experience and everything in big moments, and he can get shots, but I have a hard time imagining that their problem is going to be not able to score or get to the free throw line enough or something like that. That's not going to be the thing that holds them up.
He just really hasn't proven himself to be like an elite winner lately in the last couple of years either. Like he looked pretty good on Brooklyn. You know, they had a couple game sevens in the playoffs where they were really close and he looked really good. And then Phoenix could just be a terrible situation with the team they have around him. He would probably look a lot better on an OKC team surrounded by all these young studs and defenders and stuff. But I
I
just
would
don't know if it's like worth taking that gamble, especially to break up this chemistry this young team has.
I would argue it's I'm gonna sound kind of like a defender. I would argue this Phoenix situation might not be his fault solely. For example, tonight, 8 of 15 from the field, 3 of 7 from three, an efficient 26 points, 7 assists, 3 rebounds. He's plus 21 from the field. Um, I feel like he's like this is just me from when I watch games and when I see him out there. He's usually a pretty like solidly engaged defender and he's usually pretty efficient from the field. I don't know if he's usually the problem out there. In Phoenix specifically. I just think their roster is so flawed, and we've said this before about Phoenix, like no point guard, no cohesion, no center rotation. Bradley Beal for whatever reason.
They got Colin Gillespie out there starting at point guard right now.
Yeah.
They
Yep.
just they couldn't have we called it so clearly, and there's I mean, and obviously we're not the only ones. Anyone who looked at this team had to see this coming. Like we said very clearly, there's not going to be enough shots to go around. There's not enough ball time to go around, and they don't have someone to run the team or anchor the team, and that's still the problem. And they made no effort to try to address those problems.
I want to
Colton, I
pull
think
up a uh uh quote from Bradley Beal. I'm trying to find it. Yeah, here we go. 5 days ago. This is a legendary quote. I love this quote. Um, Bradley Beal said, I enjoy the game, man. This game is fun. I try not to let anybody take the joy out of it for me. It's very hard. It's hard. We're all human beings, man. We have fun every night, or every right to shut down. We have every right to question what's going on. You have every right to say, why me? But I feel like that just drags you down a little bit more than you need. And then he said, I'm still playing in the NBA. I still have the best job in the world. I still have my no trade clause. So I'm smiling every day.
what? That's a crazy last thing that little cherry on top.
I still have my no trade clause. Basically, screw you to everybody who says that I'm going to get traded out of here. I'm not going anywhere. I don't care if our team's bad. I'm gonna play in Phoenix because I like it and it's warm. I
It's
have
him and LeBron, right? Him and LeBron are the only two in the league that have no trade clauses.
the fact
That's
that
a
he said
wild
I
move by the
still have
Wizards.
my no trade clause. That is hilarious. Oh my God.
Colton, I think
That's
you
like
wanted
a
to talk about Draymond and Cat, but I heard that Draymond said that he has, I think I just saw the headline, so I don't know if I think he was talking about himself, that he has a case to win Defensive Player of the Year. I think he said 1,000% case or something like that. A 1,000,000% half case for Defensive Player of the Year. Thoughts? Impressions?
But the only thing with Draymond, I mean, like the defense doesn't run as well without him out there. Like he definitely is an important piece of their defense, but they're not the best defense in the league or anything. And he's definitely not the best individual defender in the league. So no, no, he doesn't have a case. But these guys are paid a lot of money to be that confident in their abilities. So I get it.
uh let's just go with the guy who's anchoring the team that's like lost 12 games all year instead. How about that? Not listen to the podcaster. Okay. Not, and I'm not talking about podcast P because he quickly, after being ruled out for the year, booted up his podcast again, right? After
You talking
scoring.
about Mobley?
Yeah, I'm talking about Mobley, right? Uh, Draymond, he is defensive player of the year, as in defensive, he gets in his feelings really easily, right? I think that Draymond, right, he is a good defender. I'm not gonna lie to you. But where was the defensive player of the year without acquiring a superstar player for, a bagel, right? Before that, the Jimmy Butler trade, where was the defensive player of the year? I didn't see him. He wasn't there. He was out there moping, right? So I don't think so, but I don't play in the NBA, I guess. So
He has stretches, he has stretches where maybe he's the defensive player of the night, but yeah, I mean, like you said, the first half of the year, I feel like that whole team was coasting, including him, and yeah, you can't reward that.
The I thought the box score was maybe more impressive when, or the like headline score was more impressive than the box score, but the Doncic and Reeves led Lakers are beating the Nuggets by like 25, but there's no Jokic, so it's a big part of it. But still, no LeBron for the Lakers,
Yeah,
and they're getting some revenge. I think they lost to the Nuggets last a couple of days ago, and they are smashing them up tonight. It's almost like Lucas is one of the best players in the league.
he's
Crazy
incredible.
that
He's
you
incredible.
would.
I was able to watch the first quarter when he had I think he had 14 or 16 of their first 24 or 26 points. He was on fire, and yeah, he's got like 31 now. That trio of Luca, Reeves, and Connect, like without LeBron in there, they've kind of been holding it down, like in terms of scoring. They have an interesting three-player attack going on with those three guys. In some
For
ways,
some reason, I love that trio. I don't know why, but I love that trio. That's a
they
dominant
have this
trio.
weird thing where they sort of they play a little bit similar too at times. Like obviously they do it in different ways, but I've seen both Reeves and Connect have moments where like when Luca goes out after being on fire, they just like pick up where he left off in terms of driving into the lane, collapsing the defense, finding guys. I think Luca's like making the team better, he's making them better passers, more willing passers. I think they're learning.
I know we're about to sign off here, but I wanted to say one funny thing. Dallas Mavericks have announced, or well, haven't announced it, but they are raising their season ticket prices after
Yeah.
trading. Hilarious.
Blazers up 12 here in the fourth quarter. Finish them off, guys, so that
Smash
Riley
them.
doesn't have to be so embarrassed.
See you guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week. Bye.